Hello, citizens of the planet. Welcome back to Monday Musings with Larry Lelli. And this past week, I was part of developmental readings of two brand new musicals, and they were both different in the fact that one of them was only a day and a half total. The other one was 7 days. So, with these new musicals, as you're developing them and they are in different stages of development. When you just start out, you might not have very much time when you first start out, and you just want to read it through and see what you have. Like the writers wrote a draft and put together some people in the room and said, okay, let's just read it and see what we've got. That's kind of what the first one was. And then when you get some interest in a show and you want to develop it a little bit more, you raise a little bit more money, you can do one that lasts for 7 days, for a full week, where you're actually making lots of changes. You read it down right away, you see what you got, and then you start making changes every single day. So it was interesting that I did two of these back to back and was able to really kind of compare the experiences of both of them. They were both really great projects. And the first one, even though I had one rehearsal for 3 hours, and then we read through the play for the presentation. We played it right down, me and a piano player and the cast. And it was so stress-free because really all we were doing is just getting through it once. We didn't know what to expect, other than to just play it as it came down. I was just making up parts because when a musical is new like this, you don't really have charts and music and all that kind of stuff. It's this one actually I did have some very decent drum parts, which the music director had sketched out earlier in advance before I was involved. So that was actually helpful for me, and that rarely happens. But then to compare that, how easy it was, like we just read it down and then it was over, and we all went home and had a great time. The other one, which was 7 days, was so much more involved, and I won't say it was stressful, but we had to pay so much attention. We had to be so invested and remember everything that we had changed from the previous day, because each day all we did was make changes to the show. We'd read it down, get through the show, and say, okay, this was working, this wasn't, let's put this here, let's put this here, let's not do that on this song, let's rewrite this song, let's rewrite the scene, let's make new harmonies, every single day. Massive changes, and the actors had to remember it, the musicians, we had to remember it, the conductor. And so it was a very, very much more intense working atmosphere. And when we finally got to the 7th day and presented it to all the people, we were like white knuckling it, hoping that this bus didn't fall apart, because we had been slapping, hardware on it the whole week through, making changes and putting new fit parts in and all this stuff. We weren't sure what was going to happen because we had never actually done it the same way twice. And even the morning of the reading, we had never actually done that version of it. We put in a whole bunch of changes the night before, after rehearsal was over. We had never actually performed it. There was music that we had never seen. The actors had never seen some of the pages. So it was a super intense experience. Both of them very valuable and worthwhile. It was just interesting to do two of them back to back. One of them being really short, which you might have thought, oh, this is going to be crazy, we only have a day and a half. But actually the one that was more intense was the one that was a week long, because we had more time to tinker with the show. So those are two different kinds of readings that I do in my daily life here in New York City. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you next week.